Welcome back. My name is Nick, and I have Kyle here with me. Pecos with us here on Instagram. He's a super talented artist. He's really into cool sci-fi stuff. Go check him out. He has amazing sci-fi art, and he has a cool sci-fi story going on. Anyways, don't want to spoil anything here. Go ask him about it on his Instagram. And today we're going to be covering Duke Leto from Dune. It's a character deep dive. Paul's dad. Very short-lived in the book series. That the main book series and in the film, but there's a lot of content on him and his character development, which Kyle's going to bring to us. And just so you know, we have cool Dune merch on the bestnerdyshirts.com. We got Kyle's original artwork as posters, as shirts. Go check it out. And every comment is entered to win a free shirt from the bestnerdyshirts.com. We announce the winner at the end of the month on our live stream, which is bi-weekly. Okay, you ready, Kyle, to jump into this?
Yes, sir. Okay, so Duke Leo Atreides the First, born March 10/140 AG, died 10/191 AG. If you haven't read the books or seen the movie, spoiler alert. Frequently referred to as the Red Duke and sometimes as Leto the Just.
Oh.
So he was the 20th and penultimate Duke of House Atreides and the father of Paul and Alia Atreides with the Bene Gesserit concubine, Lady Jessica, whom we just covered.
Yes.
Well, so he was well known for his even-handed and compassionate leadership style. So Leto ruled over Kaladan and later Arrakis, all while under a decades-long feud with the Baron Harkonnen.
And one thing that's really cool about that, too, his home planet is a water planet, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to the extreme opposite. I just think that's such a cool idea too. And it's like you go from the wettest spot to the driest spot. I love that transition.
And it's always in his quote, he's like, "We ruled Kaladan through sea and air power, through Arrakis desert power." Okay. Well, at least he's not going to build any ships, But yeah, so his migration, so the family's migration to Arrakis was really where Leto tried to start putting his designs on Arrakis into motion, right? So after almost 2 decades of rule on Kaladan, Leto was ordered by the Emperor to take over the planetary fief of Arrakis from House Harkonnen, right? Now, thus he was required to move his house from Kaladan to Dune, right, the other name for Arrakis. And now Arrakis was a notoriously difficult planet to manage, but as the only source of the spice melange, it was also of paramount importance, right? So the role brought the jealousy of Leto's fellow noblemen among the great houses, right? So whoever has control of Arrakis gains the ire of them, right? So Leto leapt to the chance to increase his standing in the Landsraad, right? Even though he knew it would also put his house in great peril by doing so. So Leto committed all his resources to the venture, and it was said that to illustrate this point to his people and the people of Arrakis, that upon his arrival he planted a flag upon the battlements at Arrakeen and proclaimed, "Here I am, here I remain." Right. Now, this line shows up in both the book and the film, but at different times in the story's telling, right? So this could be a foreshadowing metaphor with multiple meanings, right? So Leto is saying he has arrived on Arrakis and he will now die on Arrakis. So here he is, here he remains, right? Or it could also mean that in the act of nearly killing the Baron and his high command, his actions will linger long after he dies, right? So Leto's resolve was strengthened by a letter the Emperor had sent him upon his arrival on Arrakis, addressed to his noble Duke. The letter outlined that Leto was given House Carino's full support to introduce and uphold the rule of the Farfalsash. I can never pronounce this word. It's the one word I can't pronounce. It's German, I think.
I just like how your tongue went numb. Like
yeah, Faufrelucius, I'm going to say. So the Faufrelucius is the term commonly used to describe the class system used by the Carino dynasty. So this letter served to illustrate the emperor's duplicity. For the same time, Shaddam Carino IV was plotting to kill Leto. So the backstabbing politics of the nobles and of the emperor.
It's so much fun. I mean, Game of Thrones did so well with it, and it's fun to see it here in space.
I can't wait for the second movie because I hope we get more of that
Yeah.
political juice. During the consolidation of his rule over Arrakis, Leto made quick and positive impact on the people of Dune. Right, so his fair-handedness, his like political savvy, and personal charisma saw many in Arrakeen society, from the Fremen to the aristocratic houses minor that resided on there, became supporters of him. Right. However, only a short while into Leto's rule on Dune, the Emperor gave Baron Vladimir Harkonnen approval to invade and destroy House Atreides, even going so far as to provide some of his own Sardaukar support. Now, the Emperor's urgency in disposing of House Atreides was amplified by the fact that he had come to know that that Duke Leto had managed to develop a small force of soldiers capable of rivaling the Emperor's Sardaukar. So this had been accomplished through, I would say, Leto's principal advisors and generals, namely what I call the Big Three, right? Thufir Hawat for military strategy, Duncan Idaho for soldier training. He was the House Sword Master, and then Gurney Halleck for tactical command. He's a very experienced tactician. And then all three allow for like three very important elements of raising and maintaining a military force, right? So the ability to see your enemy's next move through Fear Hawat, the means to give your military the discipline, preparedness, and resources to fight effectively, Duncan Idaho, and filling command positions with competent, experienced leadership, Gurney Halleck, right? So of course the Emperor would fear him, right? So now on to his death, right? The circumstances surrounding it. So during the invasion, Leto was betrayed by Dr. Wellington Yue, and turned over to the Harkonnens. However, as fans of the book and the movie would know, Yue had given Leto the chance to kill the Baron using a poisoned tooth embedded in the Duke's mouth, with the scheme ultimately failing but weakening the Baron significantly. So Leto's remains were recovered by his son Paul in Arrakeen some years later. This is the only beyond the books and movie I'm gonna talk about. But Paul laid his father's remains to rest in what is called the Skull Tomb in the desert of Arrakis. The late Duke's legacy was felt in Paul's reign as emperor, and also in the conception of Lady Jessica of his daughter Alia. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought they did a great job casting for that part.
Yeah.
It was
Oscar Isaac
knocked it out of the park. Yeah. And it's such a good character, and it's part of the hero's journey almost, right? Because like every hero's journey, you get like the call to action, like your piece is disrupted. Obviously, we know it's not the hero's journey, the classic story arc we know, but his call to action, like Luke's call to action, was when his house gets burnt down and his aunt and Uncle May get burnt, and so he's like, I have to do this, and like Paul literally gets pushed out the fort in a ship for his mission to be set into motion, like quite literally. Like his father died and he gets shot out, and he has to just start fending for himself and surviving and becoming the man who he has to be. So it's just that motion, and then it's so cool that Duke Atreides, not Atreides, well, I guess it is Duke Atreides because his last name. Yeah. He already, and it's so great to just hear how he already had so many plans in motion and set, with just having the right army and the forces and so much, and just educating Paul to the place where he has the knowledge to be able to get his mission accomplished.
That's right. Even in death.
Just so you know, Kyle's a talented artist on Instagram. Pecos with a 0 on Instagram. Go check him out. He's really into sci-fi. He has cool sci-fi stuff going on there. Go say hi. Let him know you came from Azar. And he also helps with a lot of our shirt designs on thebestnerdyshirts.com. We have some cool Dune stuff. We got some cool His Dark Materials. We got some cool Avatar Last Airbender. All the different shows we cover. We even got Cousin Greg from Succession.
Cousin Greg always coming in.
So subscribe to get all the updates, and we'll see you on the next Azart. I got worms.
God, I hope not.
Sorry, I'm quoting Dumb and Dumber.